Fine. So in this session, we'll try to understand what is Linux, what is operating system, types of operating systems, history of Linux, Linux origins, why Linux, architecture of Linux, advantages, disadvantages of Linux, Linux versus Windows, Linux file system hierarchy, basic commands, advanced commands, and deployment commands. Okay. So these are all we cover. So today up to this hierarchy we can cover. Tomorrow we'll work on this basic commands, and day after tomorrow we'll work on advanced and deployment commands. Means Monday. Okay. Yeah. Let us start. Yeah. What is Linux? Linux and anyone having idea what is Linux? Linux is it's an operating system, right? So it is a Unix-like operating system, right? So it is an operating system, and it can run on 32-bit and 64-bit hardware. So what is 32-bit? What is 64-bit? So that is our processor type, our hardware, our laptop, our servers, right? So any hardware it will support either 64-bit or 32-bit. Okay. So because this is a very Linux is a very minimal configuration operating system, right? It can run on any type of hardware. So even though before 32-bit, so we used to use very old processors, Cyrix, P1, P2, P3, different processors. So by the time also, we used to deploy Linux on servers, desktops, laptops, right? So we used to work on that, right? So Linux will support any type of operating system. Fine. Yeah, Linux OS is freely distributable cross-platform, right? So it is open source, it is free. Linux kernel is free, right? So it is not like Windows, it is free, freeware. So it will support cross platforms, right? And also it supports multiple processors, multi-processing, right? So different processors it will support. And true multitasking, multi-user operating system. So multitasking, what is multitasking? Yeah, so we can perform multiple tasks at a time in the server or laptop or desktop. So as a Linux user, so you can perform multiple tasks at a time in the server or desktop, right? Yeah. So someone gave the name, different name. Can you change your name in the GoToMeeting? Everyone have to use that student ID. Okay. Yeah. So please change the name. Okay. Yeah. So true multitasking. True multitasking means multiple tasks you can perform at a time, and also multi-user operating system. So multiple users can log into the system at a time, right? Yeah. Fine. Next one. So Linux is the operating system. What is operating system? Anyone? What is operating system?
Interface between human and machine.
Yeah. So operating system is an interface. So if you want to perform any activity, we require some interface, right? So for example, your computer hardware will not understand human readable language. It will understand only binaries, binary language. Your laptop or desktop or server hardware will understand only binary language. Binary language is zeros and ones, right? So 000, 001, 010, 100, 111, like that. So binary language will understand by our hardware, right? So but human will not understand, user will not understand binary language, right? So here we require some translator, some mediator. So from binary language to human readable language, it should convert, right? And human readable language to binary language, it should convert. That is nothing but operating system. So operating system is a interface between user and the computer hardware. So I prepared some definition here. See here. So operating system is an interface between user and the computer hardware. The hardware of the computer cannot understand the human readable language as it works on binaries, that is zeros and ones. In such case, we need an interface which can translate human language to hardware and vice versa for effective communication, right? Yeah. Next one is types of operating systems. So what are the types available? See here, first one is single user, single tasking operating system. So in this type of operating system, one user can log into the system and he can perform only one task at a time, right? So which is nothing but MS-DOS, Microsoft Data Operating System, right? Which is very old operating system. So in this MS-DOS, only one user can log into the system and they can perform only one task at a time, which is nothing but single user, single tasking operating system. Second one is single user multitasking operating system. Yeah, in this type of operating system, so one user can log into the system and he can perform multiple tasks at a time, right? So for example, Windows. So in Windows, what we will do while browsing internet, right? We can run background audios, right? While working on some activity, we run background audios or something, right? Yeah. So one user can log into the system, he can perform multiple tasks at a time, which is nothing but single user multitasking operating system, right? So next one is multi-user multitasking operating system. So in this type of operating system, multiple users can log into the system and they can perform multiple tasks at a time, which is nothing but Linux. Okay. So for example, in real-time projects, while deploying the code, okay, so developers will log into the servers, testers will log into the servers, build and release engineers log into the servers, DevOps engineers also log into the servers, right? So they will log into the server, they perform their own activities, multiple activities, right? So Linux servers will allow you to perform multiple activities at a time, and also so multiple users can log into the Linux server at a time. Fine. Yeah. Next one. So history of Linux. Yeah. Up to here, any questions, anyone? Fine. History of Linux. Yeah, he's Mr. Linus Torvalds, who invented Linux. Okay. So he prepared Linux kernel. So he's distributing so freeware, right? So many distributions he prepared, right? Yeah, see here. So yeah, in April 1991, Linus Torvalds, a 21 years old student at the University of Helsinki, Finland, started working on some simple ideas for an operating system. By September 1991, Linux version 0.01 was released on the FTP server of the Finnish University and Research Network. So it had 10,239 lines of code for first release. So he prepared 10,239 lines of code for the first version 0.01 Linux version, right? So the X Windows system was soon ported to Linux in March 1992. Linux version 0.95 was the first to be capable of running X. Okay, so this is the 0.95 was the first capable version, right? Yeah. So after 1991, there were several of commercial implementations of Linux released. Okay. So because Linux kernel is free, right? So everyone take that kernel, they prepared their own flavors, like, for example, here. So Apple computers, they took Linux kernel, they prepared AUX. Okay. Yeah. AT&T, they prepared system release 3, their own flavor, right? So Hewlett Packard, HP Unix, and IBM AX, Linux, real-time Unix. Next step, Santa Cruz Operations, SCO Unix, Silicon Graphics IRX, Sun Microsystem, Sun OS, Sun Solaris. Like so, these are the companies. So many companies. Not only this, these are the examples. Okay. So what they did, they took Linux kernel and they prepared their own flavors, their own dashboards, their own flavors, right? So because as per their requirement in their organization, they prepare their own. So if you have a blueprint, we can take any number of copies, right? So the same way, blueprint is kernel here. So they took kernel, Linux kernel, right? So they got the kernel from the Linus Torvalds and they prepared their own flavors, right? Yeah. So features of Linux operating system. What are the features are available here? Okay. So let us try to understand. So it is a portable. So portability means softwares can work on different types of hardwares in same way A Linux kernel and application program supports their installation on any kind of hardware platform, right? So portability, Linux is very portable operating system. It can run on any of the hardware, any type of hardware, not only 32-bit, not only 64-bit, not only i3, not only i5, right? So any type of hardware we can run Linux operating system, right? Yeah. Next one is open source. It is a completely open source, right? Linux source code is freely available and it community-based development project, right? So multiple teams work in collaboration to enhance the capability of Linux operating system, and it continuously evolving, right? It is completely open source, so we can get freeware. It is open source, right? Yeah. Next one, multi-user. So Linux is multi-user system, means multiple users can access system resources like memory, RAM, application programs at same time. So at a time, multiple users can log into the system. They can perform multiple activities at a time, right? And multi-programming. So Linux is a multi-programming system, means multiple applications can run at same time. Yeah, hierarchical file system. So Linux provides a standard file structure in which system files, user files are arranged. File shell. So Linux provides a special interpreter program which can be used to execute commands of the operating system. It can be used to do various types of operations. So call operation, call application programs, etc. So shell is it's a commands. So in the shell normally use commands. Okay. So I'll show you in the hierarchy, right? Yeah. Security. So Linux provides user security using authentication features like password protection, controlled access to specific files, encryption of data, right? Yeah, so Linux is more secure, we know that, right? So backend, we use only Linux servers in real-time projects. We use Linux servers because any viruses released, any threats released, any malwares released, so first it will attack to Windows servers, right? So Linux servers, very few, like, so it will be attacked to Linux also, but very few. Okay, compare with Windows, it's a 5% only. Fine. Yeah, next one, architecture of Linux. Here we have different layers available. So hardware, kernel, shell, application program, different layers are available. So let us go one by one. Yeah, first one is hardware layer. So hardware consists of all peripheral devices like RAM, hard drive, CPU, etc. Right? So all the hardware, like your system hardware, will be available in the hardware layer. Fine. Next one is kernel. So kernel, what is kernel? Core component of operating system. Interacts directly with hardware, provides low-level services to upper layer components. It is a kernel. It is a component of operating system. One of the component, right? Yeah. Shell and interface to kernel, right? Hiding complexity of kernel's functions from users, right? Takes commands from user and execute kernel's functions, right? So yeah, shell is an interface to kernel, right? Hiding complexity. Fine. So I'll show you where we use this. And utilities. So utility programs giving user most of the functionalities of an operating system. So utilities means user programs, right? Different applications. Fine. Yeah, these are the layers available. Next one is Linux versus Microsoft Windows. So both offer some of the graphics capabilities and include some networking capabilities, but Linux networking is excellent. Why it is excellent, right? So because it is very faster and also very secure. Linux is very faster and secure, right? Yeah. Next one, Linux is multi-user multitasking, but Microsoft Windows does not support it, right? Yeah, so we know that multi-user multitasking, multiple users can log into the system, they can perform multiple tasks, but Windows does not support. So we have to take different licenses to connect multiple users in Windows. Okay. Yeah, advantages of Linux. So it is a free and open source, right? So Linux kernel is completely free, right? So open source, different flavors you can get. And Linux is portable and portable to any hardware platform, right? So Linux can run on any hardware platform, any lower level hardware or higher level hardware, right? And Linux requires minimal hardware configuration. Yes. And also Linux continues work well even when the hard disk is almost full. This is very, very important, right? Linux continues work well even when the hard disk is almost full. Means, so in Windows environments, if the system hard drive is full, Windows will not work properly because patches should be updated, right? So, and some updates, some processors will run always, right? So Windows systems, Windows servers, if the hard drive is full, C drive is full, they will not work well. They will reboot frequently. They will they will shut down sometimes, right? Yeah. So whereas Linux continues work well even when the hard disk is almost full. Even hard disk is completely full 100%. Linux will work well without any issues, right? Next one is Linux can run almost forever without any reboot. It's stable, right? So these 2 points are very, very important. Linux can run almost forever without any reboots. In our environment, we are using some critical production servers, Linux servers. So last 5 years, we haven't rebooted the servers. Still, they're working well. They're working fine, right? So because in that servers, we deployed some critical applications, critical production applications, right? So when we want to reboot the servers, when we wanted to reboot the servers, client was not accepting, right? So yeah, almost the servers, production servers nearly five years completed, but no reboots. But Windows servers, what will happen here? So when we use Windows servers, monthly patches will be released by Microsoft for Windows servers. So patches means in our Android mobile we'll get updates, right? Monthly updates will get, right? The same way for Windows servers, even the Linux servers also will get some monthly updates that we have to install on Windows servers and we have to reboot. Yeah, every month. Reboot is mandatory for Windows servers, but Linux servers without reboots also work well, right? So it will not show any errors. It will not give any slowness issues. Linux server will not give any, right, any issues. Fine, but Windows servers, they will not work fine. So when we install patches, make sure you have to reboot the server. Otherwise, Windows server will not work properly, right? So these 2 points are very, very important. Next one is Linux operating system does not slow down with time. So Linux, we don't see any slowdown issues in Linux. It will work well. Always it will work well without any slowdown issues. Next, Linux operating systems comes with some inbuilt softwares like OpenOffice and for Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Firefox, DVD, right, Burner, etc. So Linux is having GUI also. What is GUI? It is a graphical user interface like Windows. So Linux is having GUI also, but in real-time projects, we don't use GUI. We always use CLI. Right? So production environment, we don't use GUI. We always use CLI. Right? Next one, Linux is one of the most secure operating system. Right? So compare with different operating systems, Linux is most secure because so Linux operating system will have extra authentications, right? Command line, right? Different layers are there. So to protect customer data, right? So Linux is most secured operating system. So the large number of Linux distributions gives you choice, right? So we have so many distributions available, right, in Linux. So many distributions means Ubuntu, Fedora, AB Linux, right? So RHCL, different flavors, different distributions available, right? Yeah, so we have so many choices available in the Linux environments, okay, Linux operating systems, fine. And also the Linux OS and most Linux applications have very short debug time. So what is debug time? Debugging, what is debugging? Issue resolution, right? Troubleshooting, we can say troubleshooting, resolution, right? Yeah, so the Linux OS and most Linux applications have very short debug time means, so when we face any issues in the Linux, okay, so quickly we can resolve that issue. So very short debugging time, right? Whereas Windows, not like that, right? So I give you a small example here. So in our previous project, okay, so my our previous project, so one of the server, Windows server, okay, so which is production server, yeah. So in that server, some critical applications running, okay. So yeah, server was taking 99% CPU utilization. Server was taking high CPU utilization, 99% utilization, right? So we check that. So why it is taking high CPU utilization? So any critical applications are running. Okay, so we removed applications, we stop applications. Still, it was taking high CPU utilization. By the time, so we raise a case with the Dell server. Okay, so Dell engineer came to the data center. Okay, they check. So this server is taking high CPU utilization. So why it is taking? We ask him. We checked everything. He concluded that this is not hardware issue. This is a OS issue, operating system issue. So immediately we raise a case with Microsoft, right? So the case sent to Microsoft. So immediately Microsoft people replied. So we received your request. We started working on the request. Please provide the logs. Okay, whatever logs are there, please provide the logs. Okay, so we generated some logs and provided to Microsoft. So they took 12 days time to analyze that. Okay, so after 12 days, they told that this is one of the patch issue, one different patch installed on the server. That is why it is taking high CPU utilization. Please remove this patch and reboot the server, then it will be resolved. Right? Simply, we uninstall the patch, right? So we restarted the server, so it was working well. Very small issue, right? For that 12 days they took. So one of the engineer, he installed wrong patch. So monthly patches released by Microsoft, right? He downloaded some patches and he installed different patch. Due to that, it was having some issues, right? So for that 12 days, they charge use billing, use amount. Okay. So very costly repairs. Windows is costly repairs. Use amount they charge, right? So here, it Linux, yeah, less costly repairs and also debug time is very less. Within 24 hours, it can be resolved, right? Yeah. So next one is, if there were a widespread of Linux virus released today, so there would be hundreds of patches released tomorrow by Linux. For example, today some virus is released, okay, for Linux operating system, some viruses released today. So within 24 hours, so Linux will release hundreds of patches to resolve the issue, right? So either by ordinary people that use an operating system or by the distribution, so maintainers, right? So we would not need to wait for a patch from a single company like we do with Windows, right? So different patches will be released within 24 hours. Okay, so Windows will take some time to release patches to fix that issues, but Linux will take quick action here. Okay, whenever any issues happen in Linux, immediately they will react and they will release some fixes. Okay, because so Linux will run in production environments, right? Backend, most of the companies, most of the project teams, they use Linux only. right? So if the Linux server is down, production will be down. Production will be down, business will be impacted. So business impacted, client escalations, right? So that is why Linux is giving more support here to work on the Linux servers. Okay, yeah. Disadvantages of Linux. What are the disadvantages available here? Very few disadvantages are available here. First one is there is no standard edition of Linux, because in Linux there is no standard edition. So Linux is not very user friendly and confusing for beginners. So initially there will be some confusion in Linux, command side and execution and edit files and the configuring files. Little bit confusion will be there. Once you start working on the Linux, it is very easier. Linux is straightforward. Okay. So in 2013, I switched to Linux. I completed certification in 2013 from Red Hat. Okay. So by the time initially I was confusing, but slowly after 1 year, so I could manage all the servers and environments, data centers, right? Yeah. So Linux initially, so you'll have some confusion, but once you start working on Linux, it's very easier. So till now we are using Windows, right, in our laptop. But if you understand Linux, if you start working on Linux, so it is very easier, right? Yeah. Next one is the Linux folder structure. Yeah, in Linux we have different folders available. So different functionality, different folders, different functionality available in Linux. So what are those? We'll try to understand one by one. Yeah, see here. First one is slash. What is this? Yeah, slash means it is a parent directory. We can say parent directory. So this is a top level directory. We can say top level directory, right? So every directory will have some top level, right? So this is a top level directory, parent directory. You can say parent directory, right? So it represents directory for all the subdirectories, and also it is called as root directory, right? So it is by using / we can call it as root directory. So in Windows, what is parent directory? Windows systems. In Windows also we have parent directory. What is that?
CD. CD.
CD. So in C drive, we'll have one directory, one folder. That is parent directory for Windows. So Windows directory, Andy. So Windows one directory will be there. In Windows, we will have one directory. See here, Windows directory. When we install Windows, one directory will be created here. So in this, all the system files will be available. See here, all the boot files, right? Different files will be available in the Windows directory, right? So if the Windows directory is corrupted, your Windows will not work properly. Your operating system will be down, right? So the same way in Linux environments, so we have a root directory, which is parent directory, right? So under this directory, all the directories are available here. Okay. So next one is root. So when we call it as root, we have to add slash also. We have to call it as slash root, because this is parent for this root, parent for root directory, right? So we have to call as slash root. So root is a surname. You can say surname. Okay. So we have to call slash root. So what is the root here? Yeah, it is home directory for a root user. So root is a home directory for a root user. Yeah, so it provides working environment for a root user. It provides working environment for root user. Yeah, and the next one is slash home. What is slash home? It is home directory for other users. So slash root is, it is a root directory for, it is home directory for root user. Slash home is, it is home directory for other users. Okay, it provides working environment for other users other than root users. Okay, next one is slash boot. What is slash boot? So it contains bootable files. for Linux. All the bootable files are available in the boot directory, right? So like bootable files means, for example, VM Linux one bootable file, right? So init.rd also one of the bootable file, right? So grub also bootable file. So grub means Grand Unified Bootloader, right? Yeah, in Windows, what are the boot files are available? boot.ini, ntldr, those are bootable files in Windows, right? So in Linux, we have different bootable files available, right? So next one is, sbin. What is sbin? It contains commands used by only super user. Super user means root user. So all the commands used by super user only. All the commands available in the sbin. So what is bin/bin? It contains commands used by all users except root user. Okay. /usr. What is this? Yeah, by default, softwares are installed in /usr only. All the system packages will be installed on /usr only. /var. What is /var? So all the variable files are available in the /var. All the variable files, whatever system variable files are available, so those will be saved under /var directory. Next one is /dev. /dev means all the device files will be saved under /dev. /etc. All the configuration files will be saved under /etc. All the system configurations like /etc/dcpd/etc/password /etc/sudoers. All the configurations will be saved under /etc directory, right? So, and /opt. What is opt? It is a optional directory. It is a optional directory. So in this, some optional packages will be installed. Next one, /media. What is /media? All the media files will be saved under /media. Okay, so these are the folder structures. Different folders are available in Linux. Okay, see here, these are the folders in different way. I'm showing /bin binary files, /sbin system binaries, /etc configuration files, /dev device files, /proc process information, /var variable files, /temp temporary files, /usr user programs, /home home directories, /boot bootloader files, /lib system libraries, /opt optional applications, /mnt mount directory, /media so removable devices, /srv service data. So these are the folder structure available. So another way, these are the folder structure, right? Yeah, different folders are available in Linux, right? Next one. So why Linux? What is the importance here? Some reasons to choose Linux. Why Linux is required here? Okay, fine. Yeah, it's a free and open source, secure, so many distributions available, fast performance, right? So Linux is completely free, right? So open source, anyone can download this kernel, right? Very secure compared with other operating systems. So many distributions, which flavor you want, you can download, whatever flavors you require, right? And also very fast performance here, right? Yeah, and also here, no viruses, no malwares, no slowdown issues, no crashes. What is a crash? What is crashes? Operating system corrupted, like operating system is completely crashed, operating system is completely corrupted, right? So application completely corrupted, right? So in Windows servers, in Windows systems, we'll see that, but in Linux systems, no crashes. Okay, no costly repairs. Costly repairs means, I gave you example, right, for Windows server. In Linux servers, no costly repairs here. Fine. So these are the things available in Linux. That is why project teams are looking for Linux environments. Okay. So most of the critical servers, critical production servers, project teams use Linux only, because Linux is very secured, right? So many distributions available, fast performance, right? So no malwares, no virus, no slowdown issues, no crashes, no costly repairs, right? Yeah, fine. So these are the things available. So any questions, anyone? Any questions, anyone? Up to here? Yeah. Next one is, yeah. So we have Linux families, two types of families available. So in Linux, we have different families available, two types of families. What are those? We'll try to understand, right? So tomorrow we'll start working on commands, right? So before that, so we have to understand this. What are the families available in Linux? What is the difference here? Okay. Yeah. So Linux is divided into two families. Okay. Earlier it was only one family. Currently two families here. Yeah. So what are those? First one is Debian family, and second one is Red Hat family. So what is Debian family? What is Red Hat family? Okay. So functionality wise, both are same. Debian, Red Hat, both are functionality wise same. In command line, small changes will be happened. In command line, small changes will be happened here, but everything functionality wise, both are same. Okay. So in Debian family, what are the flavors available? Okay. So flavors means different types of operating systems, different versions, different yeah, flavors, right? So first one is Ubuntu. Ubuntu is available in Debian family, right? Ubuntu, Fedora, AV Linux, and GRML. These are the flavors available in Debian family. Okay. And the Red Hat family, what are the flavors available? In Red Hat family, we have RHCL. RHCL means Red Hat Enterprise Linux, SUSE Linux, CentOS, and also Amazon Linux. Right. So these are the popular flavors. Still, we have so many flavors available in Debian family and Red Hat family. So most of the production environments we use Ubuntu and RHCL, CentOS. Most of the production environments we use. Okay. Sometimes Amazon Linux also. Sometimes. So what is the difference here? Right. So only command level, small difference is there. Slight difference. Very slight difference. There is no major difference. Very slight difference here. For example, in Debian family, I want to install Java, right? So for which we use command like apt-get install Java is the command to deploy Java on Debian family. But whereas Red Hat family, if you want to deploy any package, right? What is the command we use here? Anyone having idea? In Red Hat family,
Yum.
yes, yum command. Yum we can install. When yum command we can use in Red Hat family. Yum install Java. So command line only, command side only, slight difference is there. So other than that, there is no difference. Functionality wise, everything is same. So when we deploy Jenkins on Ubuntu server, Ubuntu will run on Jenkins. And Red Hat also we can use for Jenkins server. So CentOS also can use. For Kubernetes, we can use Ubuntu or else RHCL or else CentOS. So functionality wise, everything will be same, but command side, there will be small, slight difference here. Okay. Yeah. So let us start. Still, we have 15 minutes time, right? So let us start small basic comments. Shall we start? Or else tomorrow? Can we start tomorrow?
For practice, which Linux we can install in our systems?
No need to install. Just in cloud server only. We can take one Amazon Linux. That is enough to you. In
That
cloud.
is enough. Because see, that interface will be totally different, right? Because here we are using simply commands, but Linux have some interface.
So Ram, can't we use Git Bash? Just
Yeah,
a
Git Bash. Yeah, Git Bash also. Git also developed in Linux kernel only. But so if you feel really Linux, you have to create one Linux server. In that you can execute. Okay, so yeah, no need to install in our local system. Interface not required. So directly can go to console and you can create one server. You can connect through partition. So currently we are using cloud servers only, right? So we no need to worry
Yes.
about physical. Yeah, no need to worry about installations in our laptops. So currently we are not using, right? So we are using cloud servers only, right? Yeah. How to install Linux server? We know in cloud. How to create server, right? It is very simple, right? You can
Yes, that is
create one
very
Linux server.
our systems. We are not aware now, so that's why I ask. Okay, no issues. We'll do it on AWS only.
So basically, we are not Linux admins, right? So
Yes,
admin
yes.
level, yeah, no need to worry about that. So we are not admins. We are DevOps engineers, right? So we'll not get chance to install in physical servers. Only we create in cloud,
Cloud only.
right?
Yes.
In simple steps. Fine. Yeah. So tomorrow we'll start the comments. Okay, because we have to create one server and we have to theoretically understand commands. Then we start executing the commands, right? So tomorrow we'll work on basic commands. So from basic to advanced level, which are the commands which we are discussing tomorrow, those are very, very important. So I'll provide you all the command sheet. Okay. So you can practice in your Linux server 1 or 2 times so that you will remember that. So when we start working on DevOps tools, okay. So Git required some commands, Jenkins required some commands, Kubernetes required some commands, Ansible required some commands, right? So that is why we have to practice some commands so that nearly 40 to 50 commands are there. Those are enough to you. Okay.
Could you
So
please
I'll
share us
provide you.
today on that command?
Sorry.
Please share the command today. So from tomorrow, when you start that, we'll have that commands ready with you, to practice.
Okay, no problem. I'll share today. You can execute that commands once. Okay. So while
Because
working on.
because we know how to install the instances, right? Linux in cloud. So
Yes.
if we install that, we can practice on that, right? That commands.
Yes. 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 I'll share. You can start practicing. So tomorrow, yeah, while working on that, you will understand, right? Yeah, definitely. I'll
Yes.
share the document today. So you can just create one Linux server and you can execute the commands on. You can open one putty session. So in that you can execute all the commands one by one so that you will understand.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Fine. So we stop here for today. So tomorrow we'll start working on commands. So which are very, very important. So from basic commands to advanced commands and deployment commands, right? So yeah, Linux is very straightforward. Okay. So no need to afraid of this Linux. Okay. So no need to afraid. So because when we execute command, exactly the action will be performed, right? Yeah. So once you start working on Linux, it is very easier because as a DevOps engineer, we have to work on Linux environments only, right? Fine. So we stop here for today. I'll share with you one document. You can, you can execute that commands once so that you will understand something. Tomorrow, I will work on this different commands. I'll show you one by one. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you all.